Alright, welcome back. Hope you're having a good day. This is a Ficus Microcarpa. It was sold to me as a Green Island ficus, but when I call it that, some people start clutching their pearls and tell me that it's not a Green Island. I know it's a Microcarpa, and so I just call it that. It's no big deal to me. I don't really care what you name it. I do enjoy taking care of it and everything. This is what I've been considering the front. And then that's the back. And of course, once I get done working on it today, you'll get a much better look at the structure of the tree. I'm going to go ahead and share some old pictures with you while I just kind of talk here for a second. It's pretty funny. I spend, when I make these videos, I mean, not only does just working on the tree take probably 4 or 5, 6 times as long as it would if I was just doing it without trying to make a video, and then also the editing and uploading, things like that. And when I upload a video, I consider myself very lucky to get, say like maybe 1,000 views on a video or something like that. But a couple days before Christmas break, when my students were done taking their exams, they asked me if I'd make a TikTok with them. It's like a little pre-made template with a sassy teacher, and of course I was a sassy teacher. And they put that thing together in maybe 5-6 minutes, and that thing has gotten over 300,000 views now. Pretty funny how the world works sometimes. Kind of makes me a little jealous, but maybe a little butthurt, but it is what it is. Anyhow, back to the tree here. In November of 2022, so what, like 13 months ago, I pruned it hard, put some wire on it, left the wire on over the winter, and then in April of this year, I took the wire off and just really gave it a light prune, and I've left it alone ever since. I really haven't done anything to it. Every now and again, if I do see, they do get some long shoots coming out of the bottom of some of the twigs. I don't know why they do that sometimes, but if it kind of got to where it was like even outside of the pot and everything, I might have clipped a couple of them off, but basically almost nothing in that time period. Partially because I think I need to start leaving some of the trees alone a little more often. Maybe I've been over pruning them too much, and also I just really haven't had the time to do it, which I've just kind of actually started noticing that some of my trees are getting much, much healthier, and just that I'm letting them build up this much energy. So today I am going to give it a hard prune. Probably get some wire on it. I'm just going to wait and see what it looks like when I get it all opened up and pruned. It depends on how far back I want to prune. I see like a lot of these getting really, really leggy, and like the main purpose of that would not be to build that branch there. Of course, I mean, if I want to use it, I can leave it on there, but it helps thicken up the rest of them. So if I prune everything really hard back, I may not get any wire on it. Just have to wait and see. And then before I get started, just one, little disclaimer. Remember, I do live in Florida. I am in zone 10. I'm not quite all the way down at the tip. The tip is, you get into zone 11. But being in zone 10, we haven't had a frost here. I think I've heard people saying since like 1992 or something like that. They have gotten some frost like just to the north of us, but right around here we have not. And so I feel fine going ahead and do this. I mean, the reason why you wouldn't want to do it, say if you lived in zone 9 or something like that, is if you prune it all the way back and then it started growing again, and then you did get a frost of some sort, you might kill all that foliage. But in all honesty, I think this tree has so much energy built up. Even if that was to happen to me here, I think, it would kill that foliage off for sure. But then it would just grow some more once spring actually hit. And we just had the longest, the shortest day of the year yesterday. And even though it's going to be winter for a little while here, the days are starting to get a little longer. And you can actually even see, starting today, they start getting longer. But you can even see that this tree has stayed plenty healthy with even that lack of light and everything. So it's a big tree. There's a lot of leaves on it. I'm gonna go ahead and start work. Probably do some time lapse. Probably do a little bit of music too. Hard to tell, but I'm definitely not gonna talk the entire time. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. See what happens. All right, which then brings us to this point here. As I was going, when I did the, you can tell I did the lower part first, worked my way up towards the apex. When I started out down lower, I was thinking I was leaving basically some length on here, kind of like giving me some kind of length to wire when I go to wire it. But then the more I started working it, I actually kind of decided that I think I'm going to cut it back a little bit harder than I was actually planning on, and then not wiring it. Because in April last year, like, I had to get in there and get the wire off because it gets such the growth spurt in the spring, and it had so many leaves on there I could barely even see what I was doing. But now at this point, I don't really have that much time anymore, like I've been saying, and especially until the end of the school year. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it back a bit harder than I usually would, and then just let it run wild all the way through the spring, and probably try to not touch it again until school's over, and then maybe even waiting until midsummer or so, because I'm sure when school's over I'll probably have some like really pressing projects I want to get to, and just kind of let this guy go for a bit. A lot of these, especially on the back, I've been letting some of these branches kind of go a little more leggy than I usually would, mainly because they're next to some huge scars. Like even this one here, there's this huge scar here, which you're probably going to be able to see better here in a minute. But I let this one go. I've been letting that go because I've been thinking having that hanging down to cover that up. But it is getting a little bit, older looking than it used to. And also, just I notice as I go in, before I even realize that scar is there, as I go in, I realize just how much that branch really is kind of a little bit of a rule breaker as far as coming down. And then, like I said, I don't have as much extra to do in the apex, because once I got up in there, I was actually cutting back pretty hard because I'd already planned on taking it back like that. Scar there with a branch coming out of the top, branch coming out of the bottom. Maybe with a hard cutback like this too, maybe I'll even get some back butting up closer to those scars like that. And since I'm not going to put wire on it today, I can let it go a little bit longer. This is another one. There's a scar there, and kind of letting it run a little more than I would have if I wasn't trying to keep a bunch of foliage on top. I think I'm going to do something like this. Kind of interfering with these branches down here. And I think that's a little more like it there. Let this guy run through the spring like I said. Haven't really worked these scars for a bit. Not sure how much battery power my Dremel has here on it. I'm going to try to work them a little bit. Kind of a bit too noisy to leave on camera anyhow, but maybe you guys can see some of the results. Alright, just worked the scars just a little bit. Didn't really try to open the wounds up anymore. I just tried to take the Dremel bit and just hollow it out a little more. Hollow it out the dead wood only so that that live wood has something more to heal around. They all seem to be healing up a little bit better than they were in the past. And then I did want to just kind of point out, sometimes, you know, I was really fascinated with aerial roots at one point. I still like them. I leave them, you know, if they, I don't know, if they fit the design. This one here isn't all that straight. This one actually looks better, but you really can tell when they die. I was just kind of looking at it, and I can see that this one is dead, and it just, when they die, they just pull right on up out of there. That one's, and of course this one is actually attached to that wound there, and it's still alive. So even though it's crooked, I'll go ahead and leave it. Excited to see what next year brings this guy.